If you're searching for the origins of sport, then this is the place to come. Because the people of this culture were shooting hoops centuries before a sport like basketball even existed. Even so, today, basketball rules. The country is Guatemala, and this is their national team. Long before anyone in Europe had time for sport, the indigenous people of Guatemala played their own version of basketball, with a touch of volleyball and football thrown in. Known as Pelota Maya, it lay forgotten for hundreds of years. Nevertheless, its reputation survives.
There are lots of similarities between the two sports, but pelota obviously had a much more profound significance for the Mayans than basketball has for us today. For us, sport is entertainment, but for them, sport was something sacred.
Pelota was first played by the Mayan people at least 3,500 years ago. Much more than just a game, it was bound up in the religion and culture of this ancient civilization. The end of the Mayan Empire and its sport came in the 16th century, when Hernán Cortés and his conquistadors arrived. They banned pelota as a pagan activity. Nevertheless, some players were taken to Spain, where their displays are believed to have influenced the development of many modern sports. But back in Central America, Pelota Maya was repressed and marginalized, as were the Mayan people themselves. And right up until the present day, the Mayans have remained third-class citizens in their own country. Their struggle against the control of a Spanish-descended elite became allied with armed rebellion during the 1980s, and many Mayans joined the guerrilla army that fought a bloody war against the state until 1996. That year saw the signing of peace accords, which also recognized the rights of indigenous people in Guatemala. Nobel Peace Laureate RIGOBERTA menchú led the long struggle for Mayan rights.
Guatemala was never important to the outside world. A lot of the time it seemed that no one cared about our 46,000 missing people, and that our struggle for life itself would remain a statistic for the history books. It seemed that Guatemala and her indigenous people were capable of doing nothing good in the eyes of the world.
So, what's all this got to do with trans-world sport? Well, some of the men who fought with guns for Mayan rights before the peace accords have now turned to sport to continue to spread the same message. They're reviving the once forbidden and then forgotten game of Pelota Maya to spur the revival of Mayan culture in general. And they've agreed to give us a rare demonstration of this long-lost sport.
For those of us who have studied the sport and want to revitalize our ancient values and origins, Pelota Maya is something very positive, very healthy, and very sacred. We have to work to restore and revive the roots of our own culture here in this country. And that's what motivates me to play this game, as an indigenous person and as a Mayan.
It's known as a sacred sport because it served to resolve disputes, political or otherwise. And so instead of fighting between themselves, the Mayans would play a game of pelota.
César Domínguez is the man responsible for the sport's revival. A university professor, he studied it for years before arranging the first reenactment. He's now introducing it to Mayan schools and organizes several groups of adult players. Before they play, a Mayan priest blesses their games. Our demonstration took place at Himche, the ancient city of the Mayans in Guatemala. It had a purpose-built pelota court surrounded by walls, like many other Mayan settlements. The rules are based as closely as possible on what's known about pelota. Its aim was to knock a rubber ball, or sometimes even one made of stone, through a hoop of similar size without using your hands. That was incredibly difficult, and so the winning team only had to score once.
They didn't have a set time limit for the game, so they would just play on and on until someone scored. even until night fell. The winner was sometimes the team that was left standing because the others would fall down or suffer injuries simply because they were so tired.
During play, the Mayan priest maintains the spiritual dimension of the game, praying for the safety of the players. In the past, they were chosen as representatives of their community, and their performance would affect everyone in it.
Pelota was used to resolve social problems. For example, if a team from one community won the game, then they were also victorious in a wider sense. The losing community had to give themselves up, not as slaves, but they had to pay tribute to the winners, and they would say, "We lost, so do what you want with us." And sometimes a player might decide to sacrifice himself because he made a mistake in the game, or simply for the good of his people. So that player would surrender his body to his creator, the creator of the universe.
It's even said that the winners would sometimes offer themselves up for sacrifice because they thought that they'd make more acceptable offerings. And also that the losers weren't always offered much choice on the sacrifice option. That may well have been one of the reasons Cortés banned Pelota, but its suppression was allied with wider repression of the Mayans.
The signing of the peace accords has established space in which the Mayan people can exist. But we haven't seen any direct help from the government. It's just that we and our communities have been inspired by the idea of seizing this opportunity to rescue and restore what is rightfully ours.
After 500 years of suppression and neglect, the fact that Pelota Maya is played at all is a triumph for the indigenous people of Guatemala. And it also allows them to dream of a better future. For according to Mayan beliefs, a better age is fast approaching, in which they will once more rule the land they once dominated.
There has been a lot of discrimination against us, both historic and ongoing. But we have to value what is ours, and yes, why not say it, hope and dream that one day we will be able to govern ourselves. Never in its history has modern Guatemala been governed by a Mayan. Little by little, we are rescuing and learning to value our own culture, while still respecting other cultures.